Hey guys, Elliot Tanzman here. I'm the Director of Recruitment for all of NCSY's amazing summer programs, and as I'm on one of my recruitment trips in Boca Raton, Florida, I've been asked to share with you an amazing short Dvar Torah on this week's Parsha Vayechi. This week's Parsha starts off with an amazing episode in the story that has been going on throughout the whole Sefer Bereshit. Yaakov finally, after his son Joseph is sold, and he becomes the viceroy of Egypt, and he tricks the brothers into believing that he doesn't know who they are and they don't know who he is. Finally, he reveals himself in last week's Parsha's Vayigash, and finally, after 22 years of being separated from his son Joseph, Yaakov is reunited with his son, and for the first time, he gets to meet his grandchildren, Ephraim and Menashe. And we know that he's puzzled by who these children are, because in chapter 48, verse 8, Yaakov poses the question in the pluralistic form, saying, who are these people? Mi Ele, who are these two young lads that are accompanying Joseph to Yaakov when Yaakov gets sick at the end of his life? But earlier in that Parsha, in that same chapter, in fact, Yaakov, when he gets ill and when he becomes sick, there is this mysterious messenger who's sent from the bedside of Yaakov to the palace to go get Yosef to bring him for his final blessing from his father before Yaakov passes away. Rashi, the great commentator from Fez, Morocco, informs us and tells us that this person, this mysterious man, this messenger boy, was Ephraim. This was one of Yaakov's grandchildren who was regularly and normally seen by the bedside of Yaakov, seen with his grandfather, involving himself and in delving within the Torah study with his grandfather. So my question is pretty simple. Why in verse 8, when Yaakov asks Mi Ele, why does he ask it in the plural form? He should be asking it in the singular form. He goes, I know who Ephraim is. I learn with Ephraim almost every single day. He's by my bedside. But this other son of yours, Yosef, who is this, right? Mizeh. Who is this guy who would be Menashe? And we know Menashe wasn't regularly found by his grandfather's bedside because Menashe's profession was to be an interpreter in the palace for Yosef. When the brothers came down to initially get food for Yaakov to bring back to the family where the family was living at the time, the interpreter that was involved to speak between Yosef and the brothers was Menashe. He knew Egyptian growing up in the Egyptian culture, and he also knew the language of, let's call it Hebrew, that Yosef grew up with, that the brothers were speaking as well, because Yosef, in fact, was his father. So Menashe's profession was an interpreter, and he wasn't necessarily seen at the bedside of Yaakov. So when they come together to Yaakov for their final blessing before Yaakov passes away, Yaakov should really be asking the question in the singular form. Who is this guy? I know Ephraim because, as Rashi told us, Ephraim would learn by his grandfather's bedside. But who are you? Who is Menashe? Who is this second young lad that is accompanying Yosef? Traditionally, some of the great rabbis say that at the end of Yaakov's life, he was going blind like his father Yitzchak did, and therefore he visually couldn't tell who accompanied Yosef. That's one answer, but I would like to suggest a different answer. The answer I would like to suggest goes as follows. We know how important it is for us to learn from our previous mistakes. Yaakov, earlier in his life, already made the mistake of instilling jealousy between brothers. We know that he treated Yosef on a different plateau, on a different level than he treated his other children. He gave him the Technicolor coat. He gave him the Ketonat Apasim. And Yaakov is now, at this point in his life, at this last stage of his life, is looking back and learning from the mistakes he made. And he doesn't want to make Menashe feel that he is lacking in his love as a grandchild, because Ephraim is the one who learns with him and Menashe is the one who is in the palace. And Yaakov doesn't want to instill jealousy amongst these two brothers. He doesn't want to make the same mistake that he made with his sons, Yosef and the other brothers, and he doesn't want to make that mistake again with Ephraim and Menashe. So that's why Yaakov poses the question of Mi Ele, in the plural form, who are these? he wants to make them both feel that he loves both of them equally, and that he can't see who they are. He doesn't want Ephraim to feel a sense of entitlement, and he doesn't want Menashe to feel a sense of embarrassment for having not spent so much time with him by his bedside. And as the year goes on, as we're about to flip the solar calendar year, we reflect back on what our year has been. How did we start off the year? What we were hoping to take upon ourselves this year, and some of us have succeeded, some of us haven't succeeded. But it's always a good time, or let me rephrase: there's never a bad time to do introspection, to really learn from our mistakes in the past, learn from our successes in the past, and try to emulate those in the future, or try to correct those mistakes that we have made. Guys, peace out from Boca Raton, Florida. Hope you're enjoying the snow in New York. Have a great Shabbos.